Today's video is a little bit of bonus content for viewers of my channel. Last year I was invited to go to the Superyacht Investor Conference at the Landmark Hotel in London. To be honest, I don't usually particularly enjoy conferences, but they'd invited me to go there to talk on the subject of the yachting industry and YouTube and whether the two things are compatible. Now, whilst I don't particularly enjoy conferences, I do really enjoy talking about YouTube and about this YouTube channel. So I took the opportunity, I went there and I totally changed my opinion on conferences. At the Superyacht Investor Conference, they have about 200 people, amongst which are some of the highest people in banking who loan money for the purchase of yachts, financiers, people who deal with the tricky subject of repossessing yachts. And that's actually something that would make an interesting vlog in the future. There were yacht surveyors, there were lawyers who put together contracts for really large yachts. It was a fascinating conference and a wonderful opportunity to network. And very kindly, the organisers of the conference gave me the recording of my presentation. So I wanted to put that on YouTube, and here it is now. Can I see by a show of hands how many people here have children? Keep your hands up if your children enjoy playing video games. Thank you. I have 3 kids. They all love video games, but the oldest son, Tommy, sank to new depths of depravity some years ago when he stopped playing video games and he started watching somebody else play video games on YouTube. And I was in despair. I thought, at least while he's playing video games, he's developing some sort of hand-eye coordination. At least if there's ever a zombie invasion of the planet, Tommy will know what to do to save us all. But now he's stopped doing that to watch somebody else develop that skill set. It seemed ridiculous to me. But what I didn't know is at the time, I was witnessing the birth of a whole new industry, the industry of the YouTuber. Now, there are different sorts of YouTuber. Tommy was watching one called a gamer because they play games on YouTube. He particularly enjoyed a channel run by a young guy called Felix who lived in Sweden and had a channel called PewDiePie. Now, as it turns out, PewDiePie went on to become the biggest channel on all of YouTube. 82 million subscribers. And in the last 28 days, 410 million views of his channel. It's no surprise that young Felix in 2017 is estimated to have made $15 million from his YouTube channel. He's not the only one. Another sort of YouTuber is called the beauty vlogger. Now, beauty vloggers typically tend to be young ladies, not always. They'll apply their makeup and they'll give tips as to how they're applying their makeup, what sort of makeup's good for what sort of skin. One particular beauty vlogger, a young lady called Huda Qatar, has a channel called Huda Beauty. And she was very, very, very smart. She realized that as more and more people watched her channel, she could sell them makeup. And if she really wanted to capitalize on it, she'd have her own line of cosmetics. And so she started the Huda Beauty line of cosmetics. And Forbes magazine calculated her net worth, not the Daily Mail, Forbes calculated her net worth last year at close to $500 million. So the fact that business and YouTube go hand in hand is beyond discussion. What we're here to discuss today is whether the superyacht business and YouTube can go hand in hand. And as somebody who's spent a lot of time and a lot of resources exploring that very subject, I'm here to tell you not only that it can go hand in hand, but that if you're not using YouTube in your marketing, you're missing out on one of the greatest opportunities that this generation has had as far as marketing goes. Now, that's a big statement to make, I know that. So to start to justify that, let me just very quickly explain a difference between YouTube and a lot of other social media, because we tend to bundle all social media in together and not distinguish between one and the other. You might think of Instagram, for example, which is very, very popular. And let's say that you decide that you want a big presence on Instagram, and so you post a photograph of a yacht every day for the next 10 days. So in 10 days' time, you have 10 photographs on your Instagram page, but the 10th photograph that you upload will have pushed the first photograph down until it's almost invisible. Now that's because I think that sort of platform is called a feed-based platform. You feed it with photographs, and as you put new content in, the old content sinks out of sight. Twitter's the same. Facebook is the same. YouTube isn't. It's a search engine. People don't go to YouTube to see what's been posted today. They go to YouTube because they want to absorb content about a specific product. Now, I use YouTube. On the odd occasion, I have to cook for myself. I'll write into the search bar, omelette. And it will pop a video by Jamie Oliver baking an omelette. Or how to change a battery on a Volkswagen Golf. Or if I've got a problem figuring out how to use an Excel spreadsheet, I'll go to YouTube and there's a video showing me what the problem is and how to resolve it. People go to YouTube to look for cosmetics, car reviews, information about computers, the latest telephone, and yes, people go to YouTube to absorb content about yachts. They're interested. That's where they go. To think that wealthy people don't use YouTube is tantamount to thinking that wealthy people don't use the internet. It's a ludicrous opinion to adhere to. Clearly, they do. Did you know that this year, 2018, 80% of all internet traffic is expected to be in the form of video? It was 74% in 2017. Every year, it's more and more. Google bought YouTube for a reason. They knew that people were using their telephones, using their computers as televisions. They want video content. Ironically, things have gone full circle now because people started to use their laptops as a television, then they used their phone as a television, and now they're using their television as a television because we have smart televisions where you can watch YouTube on your TV set at home as well. To be truthful, as the years have passed and I've been exploring the whole YouTube marketing phenomenon, the cynicism towards it has evaporated pretty much completely away. And now we see big brands and prestigious brands also using YouTube in their marketing. But there are still some hardcore cynics out there, and I usually tend to meet them at boat shows. And the conversation normally goes something like this. They say, "You all right, Dave?" I say, "You all right, cynic?" They say, "You still doing that YouTube thing?" And I'll say, "Yes." Because I think one-word answer is the best way not to fall into their trap of what they're trying to get to. I'll say, "How's it going then?" Now, under that sort of ruthless questioning, I just always buckle and start to gush about how my YouTube adventure is going. I'm getting 500,000 views a month, 35,000 subscribers. And they go, and then I fall into their trap because they always say, yeah, David, it's not 500,000 yacht buyers. I always give them the same answer. I really don't care. I really don't care. I don't care if it's 500,000 homeless people watching my video. I mean, I care about homeless people, of course, but I'm not going to penalise them and say you can't watch my video because you can't afford to buy a yacht. For me, the more people that watch, irrespective of whether they can afford to buy the yacht, the better it is. Now, to explain why I've come to that conclusion, I need to tell you everything I know about search engine optimization. Everything, leaving nothing out. So that will take me at least a minute and a half, because I know nothing about search engine optimization. It's an absolute mystery to me. But I do like to think that I have a certain amount of common sense, and certain things that I've read and certain things I've studied just make tremendous sense to me. One of those things is the objective of Google. Now, we all know Google is an immense American corporation with immense power, but what is their objective? What are they hoping to achieve? Clearly, for them, the more time we spend online, the more time that we spend using the internet, the better it is. They want people to be using the internet. They don't want you to close your laptop and call the kids for a game of Monopoly or to walk the dog. They want you to use the internet, and they have a very, very complex algorithm to make sure that that happens. So let's put that into practical terms in the yachting business. A yacht owner in the Bay of Villefranche on his Ferretti 80 And he looks across the bay and he sees a beautiful yacht that's just a little bit bigger than what he's got. And he says to the captain, I could see myself in a couple of years with one of those. What is that? And the captain says, that's a Palmer Johnson 120, sir. Palmer Johnson 120. He used to build them in Sturgeon Bay, then I think they built a few. And he says, that's enough. I just wanted to know what it is. Opens up his laptop, and of course, he's going to Google Palmer Johnson 120. He might put Palmer Johnson 120 for sale, Palmer Johnson 120 price. He wants information. He wants to absorb information. He wants to know if this is something that one day he may be able to buy, how much they cost. And the moment he presses send, the Google search engine starts to sweep the internet like a radar, looking for information about that yacht. Now, I'll just pluck a few names out at random. Camper and Nicholson's happen to have a Palmer Johnson 120 for sale on their website. And the Google radar picks up that 1,000 people looked at that web page in the last month. However, they only spent 2.3 seconds on average looking at the page because the marketing department had got the wrong boat on there with the photographs, the information's not, whatever reason, it just wasn't engaging. So they went back to Google to find more results they can look at. Meanwhile, Burgess also have a PJ 120 for sale, but they've got vibrant photographs, they've got deck plans, they've got information. And so although only 600 people looked at their web page, they spent an average of 3.24 minutes looking at it. That's what Google wants. So of course, Google will direct traffic in the direction always of people who can engage their viewer, people who will keep viewers using the internet for longer. And I would put it to you that there is no better way of engaging people's interest than a well-executed video. I just happen to have a video of a Palmer Johnson 120. I used it as an example because it's my best performing video. It has almost 800,000 views, and the average watch time is close to 5 minutes. So as that Google radar sweeps the internet, I have an army of 800,000 people, homeless or otherwise, 800,000 people waving a red flag at Google saying, over here, send people over here. This guy will keep you looking for 5 minutes at this video. And so, of course, for me, this search engine optimization has been phenomenal because that is the power of video. As I said earlier, Google bought YouTube for a reason. Now, I understand that for many, many, many people, the last thing they want is to stand in front of a camera talking to a microphone. Most people feel very, very uncomfortable doing that. I enjoy it. It sort of satisfies the frustrated actor in me, and it's something that gives me a lot of satisfaction to do. But I acknowledge that most people don't enjoy doing that. My fear is that because most people don't enjoy doing it, marketeers in yachting sometimes abdicate the responsibility of a good video to a good videographer. And the reason that I think that might be happening is because so many yacht videos look exactly the same. Aerial footage, the yacht goes to the right, the yacht goes to the left. There's a close-up of a shower head with water coming out of it. There's some model on the aft deck with a big hat pouting. I mean, honestly, we have access to 4 billion people. 4 billion people. That's how many people use YouTube in the world. And that's the best that we can do. Thankfully, it's not the best that everybody's doing. And many, many people in yachting are leading the way on the use of the YouTube as a platform with a variety of different methods. And I want to just use 2 different examples which really stand out to me. The first example is a yacht builder that is one of the greatest brands in yachting. A yacht builder that if anybody could say, we don't need to use this YouTube thing, we're far too exclusive than that, we're far too important to be using YouTube, people come to us. And by the way, I've done some work as a marketing consultant for yacht builders, and I've heard yacht builders, remarkably, I've heard yacht builders say that, think that they're too exclusive to use YouTube. If anybody could say that, would you not agree it would be Fedship? What a great brand. What a great product. What an incredible history. Look at their YouTube channel. It is phenomenal. They're exploring different ways of using video to see what works best for them. They have over 10,000 subscribers. They're absolutely leading the way. Recently, they've used, I believe it's one of their employees, a young lady who's very comfortable with a camera. And she goes around Fedship talking to the workers, showing how the yachts are built. One of her recent videos actually showed how cabinetry is made at Fedship. That's what people want to see. That's engaging, that's interesting. She's not getting tens or hundreds of thousands of views just yet. But as Fedship continue with this strategy and put their resources into it, I guarantee it's only a question of time before they absolutely dominate that space on the internet. The other great example is actually a brokerage company. And once again, it's not a small brokerage. It's a brokerage which has really set very, very high standards for their marketing and for their branding. I'm talking of Wyco. I think we'd all agree have an outstanding level of marketing and of branding. Now, they had a very, very clever idea. At the Monaco Yacht Show last year, I'm sure those of you that were at the show, you'll remember they had an 88-meter yacht built in China called Illusion Plus. What they did was they allowed a YouTuber, a vlogger, to have a tour of the yacht. This particular vlogger was very, very popular, he still is. He's called John Olsen, and he has a massive following on the internet. And what it allowed was for the vlogger to go on board and do his thing, which was kind of, oh, you know, awesome, look at the size of this, and all that kind of stuff, which was professionals. It's not very professional for us to say, but as he was walking through the yacht doing that, look, you can land a helicopter here. There was a Wyco broker at his side with a Wyco badge on, acting in a supremely professional manner. He knew when to be quiet and step back and let John Olsen do his thing. He knew when to answer a question. He was supremely professional, and honestly, I watched that video thinking, if I was a yacht buyer of any size of yachts, watching that, I'd feel comfortable with this company. I'd feel comfortable with that broker. The cost to Wyco, I suspect, 0 to do that. That particular video has had over, or close to 1 million views. What a great way to promote your brand, your product, or your service. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to use YouTube. The fact, in my opinion, remains that if you believe that the internet is important in marketing your product or your service, you're well advised to use video. 80% of all internet traffic is in the form of video this year. If you accept that video is important for marketing your service or your product, you're very well advised to use YouTube, because that's where people go to look at videos. And I really hope with this presentation that I've given food for thought so that more and more people put the resources necessary into capitalizing fully on this amazing platform. Thank you.
Do we have any questions today? There was one at the back. Do you think lawyers should be using?
Do I think
lawyers?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I do. I think, as a matter of fact, I think if a lawyer really embraced the YouTube platform, their success would be phenomenal. With lawyers, off the top of my head, I think they would need to feel comfortable in front of a camera. There's a guy I've seen who's a lawyer for real estate, particularly in the United States, and he just once a week he goes on camera and answers a question about real estate law. But, you know, the important thing is to do it and to do it regularly. The first video that you do, you'll probably get 3 views, and it can be very discouraging. But if every week you're answering a question about superyacht law, with time, you'll gather an audience. There's a few lawyers, actually, who are really exemplary. I see Bob Allen here, who's very, very strong on social media. Benjamin Maltby with Twitter springs to mind as well. James Jaffa's doing a great job. And if they've embraced social media as a good way to network and to get more clients, then of course YouTube should be high on their agenda.
Great, and also you get top marks for not telling everyone to follow Yachts for Sale on YouTube. 35,000 people do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.